So we're officially beginning now, and we're going to begin with just a couple of seconds of just feeling and sensing the spirit of love and creativity, God that is within us. And allowing ourselves to get a real sense that we're stepping out of time for a moment. And recognizing that there is brilliance and creativity, that each and every individual here is indeed a Renaissance woman or man that has such giftedness to share. That we have arrived here at this particular time with Brother Leigh to explore that dimension of infinite possibility, to share in the art, in his giftedness, that will lead to moment by moment by moment inspiration, glorifying the infinite possibilities that lie within us all. We bless this afternoon, and we let it be. Amen. Amen. Just want to say thank you all for showing up here today. How many of you have never seen Leigh before? How many have never seen his art before? It's your first time seeing his art. So we have some newbies here for you today. So the idea was to have him here. You see his artwork out in the sanctuary. He's going to talk more about that. But many of you may have seen him on television and in movies and things of that particular nature. You were in Dallas and accidental meetings.
You accidental films.
Films on purpose.
Yes, exactly.
And you basically talk about the fact that being an actor was more like your patron that served you to actually get to this point in your life where you can begin to give your art from another vantage point. And I'm so happy that you did. And so he is a true Renaissance man. I've been to his home and seen the wonderful work and seen his, actually seen his heart and who he is. And he held me captive there. What was supposed to be a half-hour meeting on my schedule turned into, I don't know how long. But once I was in his clutches, I didn't want to leave because his artwork and his language was actually speaking from my own soul, what I feel and believe and what I try to convey in my own way. So it was not my first time meeting him, but my first time being in his home. And it was Laura Erica that actually gave me some of his artwork first that really, again, spoke to me. And the language that he used was like he was reading my mind. And so I knew I had to be with him one day. And it was a powerful meeting, and that day led to this day, into the work that you see on the wall. And so I'll just throw it open now and say, let's welcome Leigh McCLOSKEY.
Reverend Michael, because as he says, I did have the great opportunity to corner him, and I had a producer once who said, you ask Leigh what time it is and he'll tell you how to go to watch. Short-winded responses to a question, probably not going to happen, but I wanted to say it is such a great honor to be here at Agape, and such a great honor to be with Reverend Michael, and a true brother. I felt when I heard him speak this morning, and every time I hear him speak, I feel so profoundly that this isn't personal at this point, that there's a quality of mind and perception that is beginning to emanate through all of us. And I see him as truly the embodiment of the emerging man, the emerging sense of we are responsible to the deeper, more beautiful questions about who and what we are. And you were talking about heavenly visions. Right? And I wanted to say that one of the things that I've discovered over the years, because when you said about acting, acting was very good to me, and it created a good livelihood. But the questions being asked within that creative adventure were not nourishing to a deep degree. And so I started having conversations in my home 28 years ago, trying to gather those that were curious and those that were asking questions of depth and meaning, not as believers, but truly as creative and imaginative explorers. And this is something that I saw so much today in what you were talking about with heavenly vision, and that's why I feel that the visionary experience, most people think is optical, it's in the eyes. But in truth, the visionary experience rises up through the feet. It rises up through not knowing, through the willingness to dive into the mystery. And every time you talk, I feel you dive into that mystery.
Absolutely. It is, as you know, it is not from the senses. It's actually from the depth of our spirit. And sometimes it uses the senses, sometimes it bypasses the senses and moves into the silence or a groan or a work of art. But I think people get lost in the senses and try to describe something that really is indescribable except through prose or music or art or sound effects.
We have to give birth to that everything that is truly remarkable and beautiful in our spirit longs for us to take the responsibility to birth it into the world, not to represent it as something abstracted from ourselves, because when it moves through us and it's ours, we are transformed in the process of taking responsibility for those ideas,
yes,
for that inquiry.
Absolutely. And I like what you said, because the hierarchy that I live from and see is that people have a tendency to, first of all, concretize things. Yes. And then they move into making things abstract.
Yes.
And then the next level is what I call artistic perceptivity, where you go beyond, like if I say God, people may see a man. They want a concrete God, you know. Or they get into abstract, get into their head, and they start giving all these names of God. Right. You know, but then with an artistic perceptivity, you birth into a different realm, and a work of art will come that is not abstract. It actually carries the vibration of the ineffable, and then leads you to a mystical awareness where there's just silence, you see. And so, yeah, this is not an abstract doing. No, it's not a concretized thing. It's actually a real peering into reality.
Well, that's what I really think. This sense of, because as I was getting from my work, and certainly from what you're saying, is that we aren't born into time. This is the first mistake. I only have so much time. I have to get it done within this time, as opposed to we're born into creation. And if we understand that we're born into creation, then we are, as you said today, we are the embodiment, holographically. We contain within our wholeness, our holiness, the entirety of the all.
Yes.
Which means if you have a fraction or a sort of partial understanding of these things, you project that into a very small quadrant of belief, as opposed to the fullness. And this is why I'm also a gardener. I feel that what we are doing is learning to plant the seeds of intention within the fertile depths of our yearning, and to trust time as that which unfolds these things. But it is not time itself. It's actually time is the motion that allows things to manifest. And congratulations on the manifesting of Agape.
Absolutely. And when I you know, we can just go back and forth like this all day. Because I would say, in that same sense, that we're here to bring eternity into time. So not to get lost in time and space, but to have that moment of eternity, and then creation comes from that.
Yes.
And then time is just the visual or the experiential unfolding of that eternal idea.
Yes.
And so you're always, once you catch that, whether it's a nanosecond or whether it's an hour or a week, that eternal moment is so rich and so real and life-altering and transforming forever. Forever. And you can, that's why you can take a piece of art, it's real art, and everything is not art, just like to me everything is not music.
Right, yes.
You know, I was on an interview one time, they were talking about the music on the radio. I said, that's not music. We wouldn't call that music, we would call that noise. You know, and real music and real art is that which is really tapping into the timeless dimension of ultimate reality, and then it's expressing. And so when you look at a piece of art, you actually see if you sit with it long enough, you see through the artistic perceptivity, and you're able to catch that eternal thing that can't be described, but it changes you. A piece of art can change you forever, like a piece of poetry.
Absolutely.
You know, you absolutely change because the timeless dimension has grabbed your heart.
Well, you know, I felt this with, you know, listening to Beethoven or looking at Michelangelo. You can look at them as unique individuals. Beethoven was a man who brought in, but really we are the Ninth Symphony.
Yes.
You know, what was expressed is our humanity. And that's why rather than looking for the unique personality of who did what, as a human being, saying, this is myself. This is truly the deeper heroic capacity of our human expression arising up to remind us of who and what we are and why we're here. And I feel that the creative movement, this moving toward the timeless or the embodiment, and the timeless moving through us is where you really start to, like with this work, I found that the sense of it being personal fell away.